What is up, my ducks and drakes? Welcome to the Crowded Lake and welcome back to Wattpad Read-Alouds. It's been a second, but I am happy to be back now that I'm not doing full credit hours in college. That makes things a lot easier, really. I'm also working on a Sandersides theory, so if you're here for Sandersides content, you won't have to wait much longer. I finally had an idea, and I will be working on that idea, and it'll be coming out before the school year starts, because if it comes out after the school year starts, it will come out next summer. With that being said, this is a fic I wrote. If you have fics that you wrote or another artist wrote that you like, go ahead and submit them into the Google form below. I made a new one. It does not need to be from Wattpad. It could be from any fanfiction site. Wattpad's just a part of the title because I came up with the title when I was in middle school. So, whoops. With that being said, this is What's Wrong With Me, a Tugstopheles Cats fanfic by me. The description being, after the Jellicle Ball, Mr. Mistopheles' pride from saving Old Deuteronomy is quickly tarnished when he realized just how much he can't handle that every other normal cat can. Rum Tum Tugger is there to protect him, but that just makes him reliant and needy. Still just kitten behavior. When the world gets too much, what will Mr. Mistopheles do to help himself feel safe, as well as prove he isn't just a dumb old kitten? Chapter 1. The Jellicle Ball. It was the end of the Jellicle Ball, and Mr. Mistopheles was still riding the high of saving Old Deuteronomy. His tail, moving jaggedly, kept contorting its shape. His paws were balled up and clapping into each other, occasionally moving up to knock his head or scratch his ear before going back down to knocking one thing or another. Once Macavity appeared, his breathing grew quick and his eyes were a blur. All Misto remembered from that moment was Rum Tum Tugger getting him out of there. Tugger might have helped him slow his breathing or talked him into calming down, but he only really grounded himself when he heard from Victoria, his amazing sister who came to check on Tugger, knowing he was probably comforting Misto, and to inform him that Old Deuteronomy was taken. This normally would make Misto freak out even more, but for some reason it did nothing but make him feel like stone. He didn't get a chance to present. Not only did he now have no chance of being the Jellicle choice, but who knew if there would be a Jellicle choice at all? From the corner of his eye, Tugger saw Misto moving closer, relaxing his shoulders to try not to freak Misto out even more. How do we get Old Duke back? It's not like we know where Macavity put him. He's magic. Old Duke could be anywhere. Victoria jumped, turning to Mr. Mistopheles. He's magic, but so are you, Misto. You can magic him back, right? I've seen you magic Mom and Dad into the room when you were scared as a kid. You have to at least try. Tugger took Misto by the paw and squeezed it tight. I'll settle them down for you. You got this, hun. Right? Hun? Misto's stomach flapped at the nickname. He's always giggled through Tugger's affections, but wondered if there was something more there. Misto climbed himself up to the top of an old pipe to watch Tugger control the crowd. He didn't know how he planned on calming them down when all the lights went out, but he trusted Tugger. Trusted, sure, but Misto still wanted to slap him across the face sometimes. He used Mr. Mistopheles himself to calm them down. You ought to ask Mr. Mistopheles, the original conjuring cat. There'd be no doubt about that. Please listen to me, and don't scoff. All of his inventions are of his own bat. There's no such cat. In the metropolis, he holds all the patent monopolies for performing surprising illusions and creating eccentric confusions. These cats would stop in their tracks for Tugger at any time, but to have them fawn over him while Tugger talked about Misto made him almost queasy. The greatest magicians have something to learn from Mr. Mistopheles' conjuring turn. And we all say, wait, what? Fuck. Misto thought to himself in a panic. This was going to be his song to prove that he should be the Jellicle choice. If he gets Old Dude back, he's the choice this year for sure. If not, he might be an outcast like Grizabella. Misto never knew her deal, only that she was hated and not to be tolerated. He could pull any card from the pack. He's equally cunning with dice. Misto couldn't help but chuckle with that line. Tugger knew Misto could do real magic, but flaunted the card and dice tricks he showed Tugger when they were kittens. At this point, he looked down and spotted Victoria. She gestured for him to come down, but Misto wanted to play into it if this was the song that got him the one-way ticket to the Heaviside Lair. He noticed Tugger was about to hop back into that chorus from the top of the song, so he grabbed a piece of rope hanging from a higher piece of metal and swung down with a grace that only an expert dancer like himself could possess. Presto! And with that, he magicked the lights back on. No longer were they only illuminated by the glimmer of the moon. No matter how big and bright it may be, it wasn't practical for seeing. Misto went to town, leaving small explosions of lightning as he perched himself confidently on the tips of his toe beans. Mr. Mistoffelees was no good with communication. If he was having a conversation, there was lots of stuttering and no eye contact to be made with him, but he was a performer. The stage is where he felt most comfortable, and the more people in the audience, the better. They were a blur. He was a blur, and nothing else mattered but entertaining them and that rush he got. He practiced a mock routine like this growing up, wanting as a kitten to be selected as the Jellicle choice, much like the other cats. He practiced his dance with Tugger, who would dance alongside him for fun. What he never thought was that Tugger would dance with him in the actual thing. He got a brief peek of Tugger dancing alongside him before spinning forward and catching a kettle. It felt empty, but he needed to add some spice. He focused and pulled out a rainbow handkerchief with ease, swirling it around Tugger before throwing at a pack of cats behind him. He looked over at Tugger, who continued the song, smiling strongly at Misto for encouragement. It was time. Misto picked a random cat from the crowd, pulling a red cloth from an old car trunk to cover her. Tugger scoffed that he wasn't chosen to perform more with Misto. He took a deep breath, wiggling the cloth, letting the cat slide under it. At this point, he flicked his wrist, switching that cat for Old Deuteronomy, or so he hoped. He let the figure out, blowing some glitter too, if nothing else, to calm himself down, and then pulled the cloth. He was there! Mr. Mistoffelees turned so he could reveal his pride. He did it! But it wasn't over. He heard Rum Tum Tugger continue the song. He turned slowly as Tugger pointed at him, and Old Dude looked up, beaming at him with his own pride. Misto couldn't help it. He ran for Old Dude, jumping in his powerful arms and licking him a welcome back. He ended his show with some jumps and one big jump off a metal piece. He was sure that he was going to be the Jellicle choice now. After that, Munkustrap found his way over to Mr. Mistoffelees to thank him for saving his father. Misto just gave an understanding smile. Monk was basically already taking his father's place, being a father figure to all the kittens. All Old Dude did was make the Jellicle choice. All the other stuff was done by Monk. Misto was glad he could be such help. He felt guilty every time he saw the tired circles around Munkustrap's eyes. No cat should have that much stress on them. Just as he looked at Old Dude once more, he saw Grizabella emerging from the shadows. He backed away cautiously as she started to sing. Misto understood her broken soul. Maybe not socially, but Misto knew he was outcasted. Everyone treated him like a kitten when he was a full-grown cat, or at least he was getting there. He felt pandered to and always needed saving and extra care. The moment Misto was surrounded by too many cats or too many noises, or he didn't like the texture his paw swiped, he could shut down for the rest of the day. Non-speaking and helpless like a kitten. Mr. Mistoffelees, despite his hurdles, was growing very mature as a kitten and made it a point to care for others. He thinks to himself that maybe it was disregarding his time as a kitten that makes him so sensitive now. His attention pulled away from his reeling mind of static when Grizabella broke down. Touch me, it's so easy to leave me, all alone with the memory of my days in the sun. If you touch me, you'll understand what happiness is. Look, a new day has begun. All the cats around heaved their breaths in and out of their chest. He went to glance at his sister for help, but she was in front of the glamour cat, reaching for her tattered coat. She was always the most understanding cat, Misto knew. So naturally kind. Of course, she would be the first to come to her aid. She led the kittens to her also. Grizabella was then declared the Jellicle choice. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked this chapter, feel free to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when the next chapter comes out next week. If this is very far in the future, maybe it's already on my channel. There's a playlist of all the things that I read aloud, so feel free to playlist it up so you can listen to them in order. I have a few socials below if you'd like to check them out. And with that, thank you so much for listening, and much like Misto trying to perform for the Jellicle Ball, do your best.